So welcome to the 4-H Lunch and Learn series with Rutgers Cooperative Extension. We're going to be talking about green screen effects today. So the objectives of our lesson today is to be able to create a plan, capture your different shots, edit your effect, and then share your creations. So the first thing that is within our plan is to figure out who is going to be the subject of your green screen effect. What is the background effect going to be? And then also you want to consider the kind of light. So when you're creating a green screen effect, if you want it to be realistic, you want to try to match the light in your background with the light in of the person that is going to be in the foreground. So if you're going to have them on a beach in the background, but you're shooting inside of a building, you want to try to have very, very bright light to match that beach background effect. It'd be the same thing if you're in a dark environment, you want to try to match that light. I included just a cute little picture here of what photographers usually use when they're trying to sketch out their plans. So this is just kind of the lighting, a general lighting plan that you can use as a background, as a plan to plan out your background. Then also, since we are going to be working with youth, you want to try to figure out before we get started, before you pass out the iPads, is who's the photographer, who's the director, who's going to be the editor. Try to make all of those things beforehand, because once you give them the iPads, it gets very difficult to give them directions. So if you can get all those directions out beforehand, that's your best, you'll have your best shot. All right, so once you create a plan, the next thing you're going to do is set up your shot. Shot is just kind of the word that photographers and videographers use to explain what is going to be in front of the camera or within your picture. So since we are going to be using iMovie, I recommend using a green or a blue backdrop, something that's super bright and isn't a naturally occurring color, because this is iMovie's, the software works best with those really bright colors. You also want to make sure that if you're using a person, that they're not wearing a green or a blue shirt. You don't want, because if you've ever seen, like, sometimes on the news it'll happen, the weatherman is standing in front of his map and he's wearing a blue suit, and then suddenly his blue suit becomes a part of his map. So that can be, if you want that to happen intentionally, it can be a really cool effect. But if you don't want that to happen, be really careful with what your person is wearing. And then also, it is okay if the green screen doesn't quite fill out the whole screen, because there is a green screen extender tool within iMovie. When you're setting up the shot, try to make sure that the background doesn't move too much, because if it moves, it'll show within like a ripple effect, which you can see in the example that I made. All right, so, and then of course you want to also take a lot of different takes, because things will inevitably go wrong and you won't even notice that something in the background is there that's going to be bothering you, and it's hard to edit things out afterwards. So the idea of we'll fix it in post is actually we'll take double to triple the amount of time of just fixing it when it's in front of you. So try your darndest to review your shots before you're done taking videos, because fixing it in post does always take a lot of time. I know it always seems like easier when you're like in the moment trying to get things done, but try to fix everything in front of the camera, because it'll save you a lot of time later. All right, so I'm just going to walk us through the screenshots that I did first, and then I will do a share through the iPad. So the first thing we're going to do is start a new project and select movie. And then the next thing is you want to select your background. The first thing that you want to do is select your background, not your actual subject. So for this one, the background of the screenshots is the beach scene. Oh, never mind. It's actually going to be the space scene. I took the screenshots at different times. So the next thing that you want to do is you're going to click that little plus sign in the top where my red arrow is pointing, and you're going to then select your foreground video, depending on where you saved it in your iPad. If you took the video on the iPad, it will be under video as well as moments and albums. If you downloaded it and took it from somewhere else, it'll probably be under files. So the next thing that you're going to do is bring your foreground picture in. So you select whichever video that is, and when you click on the video, it'll give you this little menu that pops up of a plus sign, a play sign, and the 3 dots. So then you click on the 3 dots and you click green/blue screen, and it will populate into your bar at the bottom. and then it should start to automatically load on. And this is the kind of effect you'll have. I always use my animals as my subject matters. Just as a pre-warning, this is Tommy. And as you notice, my green screen does not fully extend the length of the video, but that's okay because we can fix that. So make sure that it correctly adheres to the blue or green screen and not the background. You might have to reload it in if it doesn't work. You can also use the bars to adjust it. So then what we're going to do is we are going to drag the corners to exclude the areas that are showing around the edges of the green screen. So then it'll look like my cat Tommy is lost in space. And then finally you would get done. And that is your video. So I will now walk you guys through it on the iPad. I just want to show them these. Let's see. I got this to work before, so fingers crossed. Of course, down. The second that you do it in front of anyone, it doesn't want to work. Okay, wait. Here we go. Come on, you can do this. I believe in you. Little iPad. Ah, there we go. All right. So I did not choose that picture of Rodrigo. I don't know why my iPad is obsessed with that picture.
Rodrigo chose that. Rodrigo tapped into your iPad and set that up so it would display.
I was set up for this.
Totally set up. Look how happy Rodrigo looks.
I know him in his coats. That was at summer science. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select movie, and then we are going to choose our background, which is, oh, no, just that guy. Then create movie at the bottom. So then we have, it'll kind of double and do this just to create it a little bit longer and create a cool effect. It does that automatically. So then next we go to video and all, and it will be the most recent taken video. And then of course we click green/blue screen, and it'll just kind of fall in. So then what we want to do is we're going to select the little yellow scrubber, and we want to extend it. Oh no, it's it might be nice. Of course. There we go. So Tommy is 6 months old. You can see she's just kind of playing. Why are you being mean to me? There we go. So we can extend this video so that it matches the entire background. And of course it's being super fidgety because people are watching. So the iPad is like, I don't think so.
I love how you're enticing it with a cat toy.
Thank you. Yeah, I tried to do it at first. I was trying to get her to be on this my background thing without anything. I was trying to make her just run across it, but she didn't. She kept attacking the backdrop. And also, you guys do not have to go out and buy fancy backdrops. This is just a tablecloth. This is a blue plastic tablecloth that I use, and I taped it up on the wall, and it worked just as well as any kind of fancy backdrop can. And well, okay, you are just being super difficult with me right now.
It might be, how long is your video of the kitty?
It's about a minute, so it's definitely longer than this.
Huh, okay,
So
that's interesting. I wonder why it's not
right
being,
now.
yeah.
There we go. I'll just keep extending it. You know, it was working beautiful. There we go. All right, cool. And we'll just match this. So these just kind of pulling the scrubbers so that it matches the actual video. And then So we have Tommy playing, being silly, a big old goof. And so just kind of match the length. And so she stays on the screen. There are a couple times where she goes off. So I luckily added it in. Because when she goes off of the screen, later when you do the extender, she'll disappear. So now we can do the extending part. So you would select your video of your subject, this being Tommy. And then we go up here. We can do change the strength of the background. So this is kind of like a lighter, just like it's like changing the opacity of it almost. So you can make it super, super dark. Tommy stands out a lot compared to the background. So if you have someone that doesn't stand out as much in the background, this is when you would use this more. But she doesn't have any blue in her, so she stands out really well. And then here, this is where you would drag the corners to exclude the area. And you can just drag them in right like this, so as to match. So with the kids, you usually aren't going to get their feet in a green screen effect, but with the cat, I needed her entire body, so I created a seamless, which is just where you take the back end of like a tablecloth or whatever you're going to use as your backdrop, and you have it not go directly against the corners, but kind of droop out, so as to create that kind of seamless effect to it. So then we hit done, and then we have Tommy playing around with a bunch of stars in space. And then you hit done up in the top corner. And that is how you create a green screen effect. So it's a super simple lesson. Most of the work is involved in it is going to be in the setup and the planning time of it. So I did the setup and everything beforehand because I figured it was going to take longer to go through this than it did. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Jenny, how have you used this in programming before?
So I actually just used it yesterday with the kids. I brought that blue tablecloth that I have because I left the seamless in our office in Newark. So I kind of had to just grab whatever I had. And luckily I have a giant roll of that tablecloth. So we just taped it up. And then each of the kids were able to just use the iPads. They used the Notes app in the iPads to sketch out that earlier thing that I had shown, where they created their plan. They like drew where they would be standing, where they would have the camera. We didn't have any lights with us, so we didn't have to draw any of that in, but you can bring in lights if you want to bring in, like, I know a lot of kids just kind of already own their own ring lights. So you can have like ring lights around to create a cool lighting effect with them. You can also use the iPads. The iPads all have lights on them if you want to create a cool lighting effects that way. But yeah, and then they just chose images off the internet to use as their background. You can have them take their own pictures to use as a background, but like we don't have access to space to take pictures. So that was the effect that we kind of went with yesterday. Because the library is doing a whole space thing. Because of the eclipse is happening on April 8th. So we're staying with a space theme. So I've used it for the kids to just kind of put themselves in space. You can also take recordings from within, if you use GarageBand, if you've ever done like the alien voice in GarageBand, you can add that recording as another layer onto the video to just kind of keep adding and creating really cool effects with it.
One other question that I have is, are blue and green backdrops the only color backdrops that work for actually making the effect in the video?
They are what work best with iMovie specifically. You can, if you're looking to use like Final Cut Pro and you want to like do like really professional quality, you can use other colors, but blue and green work best because they're so different than naturally occurring colors that we have, like that occur within us. We stand out most in front of blue and green, so you will get the strongest effect with blue
and one thing is funny, we were doing some green screen effects the other day, and somebody was wearing a green shirt. And so if you wear a green shirt and the background is green, your shirt is going to be part of the effect. So just FYI.
Yeah, and
Kind of
from from a 4-H perspective, if you think about the color of a green screen, it's really close to the color of the clover. And so if you're doing it with 4-H members and a lot of green, we tend to have more green than probably the normal folks. So blue probably would help your clovers and other stuff pop out versus otherwise it's going to look like if they had a clover on their shirt, like a hole through the person that'll show the backdrop. Behind the space, I have a hole of space in my chest. Versus
Yeah, I mean, that could also be the
clover.
effect you want.
It could be, yeah.
Depending on what you're going for. Yeah, you can use it. Like we have those fully green morph suits that they dress people in to try to hide them within the green screen. So you can really use this to create any kind of cool effect, but this is just like the beginning to get you into it.
And then I bet you if you like if you had wrapped the kitty, I don't know what those, the kitty toy, what do you call those?
Kitty toy works.
Kitty toy.
Probably like a wand. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
didn't, okay, so I also, fun fact, I didn't know you had cats. I know you had dogs. If you wrapped it like in blue painter's tape, do you think it would have hidden, you wouldn't have been able to see it as much in the video, I wonder? I'm just curious.
Ooh, I'm gonna try that. It didn't even occur to me to try to hide the toy. But I'm actually gonna definitely try that next and see if it'll blend in.
And then the painter's tape wouldn't be too sticky, right? It would be able to peel it off. So
Yeah.
let us know. Let us know how it works. We want to know.
I definitely will try it out and see what happens. I don't know where she went. She's somewhere around here wandering. But yeah, I have 2 cats and 3 dogs. It's a big animal house here. And I use them for all of my different examples for all of the everyone can create that we do. Here, let's see if I can find my other.
It's really crazy, Jenny, like watching you, like, and I really love how you broke down everything, but like, it's so easy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not complicated to do this. Like, you don't have to have like fancy program. You just overlay it on top of each other. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super simple. I was like, I was very afraid at first when I was like, yeah, I could do this. And then I was like, oh gosh, can I actually do this? Like, can I teach people how to do this? But it really isn't as cumbersome as like I like thought it would be in my head. Like, when I actually went to do it with the kids, they immediately picked it up and they had a great time doing it. So I definitely recommend, like, even if you are like a little afraid, like, oh no, I don't know anything about video, I've never done video before, like it is very intuitive to do. It works a lot better than what you fear it will. And then also my recommendations for doing this when you are actually doing the shooting and taking multiple shots is don't have them hold the iPads in their hands. Either if you have tripods, you can use a tripod, but if you don't, put the iPad on a stack of books, put it on a chair, because you don't want that shaking movement in it. You want the camera and the shot to be as still as possible. So if you can just like try to stack it so that they're not holding it so that you can get that still shot, because the overlay works best when you have that still shot. And does anybody else have any questions about using the green screen effect?
Thank you.
All right.
I think you did a great job explaining it all.
Well, if you do have any questions, please feel free to email me. And that's it.
Great job, Jenny.
Thank you, Janique.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Jenny,
you.
Awesome.
Could
It
you
was good. Thank you. Really easy.
really quick just put the QR link QR
Oh, yeah.
so that thank you.
So if you guys could complete this survey, so that we can know who participated, that would be super awesome. And then I think I did. And then here's the first one that I made where the background kept moving. So then I had to go and redo it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jenny. That was super, super fun.
And here's the bottle.
There's the star.
Little Miss Tommy. All right. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Great job.
Bye.
Take care.